Welcome to the September update of the New Haven Willoughby line. I've done a lot since the last update, so stick around, stay tuned. So I've still been working on this section with these three structures, but they've been coming along quite well. I've got 2 floors, windows, and window fixtures or window treatments on this structure here. I've started to weather the stairs with some chalk. What else have I done? I haven't done much to this one. I forget if I had done the roof on the last update, but I started to do the roof panels through my normal technique of Elmer's glue and strips of kind of construction paper that I cut. And I've been doing that. Well, actually I have to start that on this structure here, so that's the next step. This one is pretty well done. I just added the canopy this morning, and earlier this week I did the 2 doors, cut them out and opened them up. And this morning I also started to put in a floor here so that there's going to be some kind of interior going on if you were to, look in there. So this still needs some work on the inside. I haven't decided how much detail I'm actually going to put in on that, but I did started the floor. It's just a panel at this point that I'm going to finish. I put a base coat. I'm going to smooth it out, and I may add some internal details and things on that. This is actually this section here, so that's going to go in there like that, and then there's this section here which fits on there. I also had started working on the roof details, so I've got a bunch of little pieces which made me realize I really need to start organizing all my little bits and pieces, because I've got tons and tons of little containers of stuff, and it's all scattered and unsorted, and it makes things kind of a nightmare. I had scratch built this little loading dock, and then I realized I had pieces that I could have used for that in one of my spare parts bins. So I really need to organize that. I know every video I see or person I follow always talks about that organization, and I just never did. I think just because I've been learning so much along the way that I just haven't been organized from the start. So I'm getting better and better with scratch building and keeping pieces and using pieces for kit bashing and so forth. So that's this section here. Lots of work still to be done, but lots of work has been done. I forget on the last update if this structure was completed. I have still a little bit of work to do, but most of it's just for the roof and details. I still need to finish the fire escape on this one. I decided not to put the large water tower or water tank on top. It's actually over here. It just looks too large for this area. I mean, it fits the building well, but it's too much. So I'm gonna leave that off. I might get a smaller one. I've seen layouts that have smaller kits. I forget which kits I've seen. I'm not sure, but there's smaller ones. I may put it lower, although that's probably not realistic because I guess they need to be as high as possible. But yeah, so that structure is going to be as is. With the other 2 on either side of it, I really need to weather the middle one a lot more. But yeah, I've been working on the interiors of these as far as the windows and window treatments. I still need to do some window treatments, I think, on this one. I did it on the main side here, if you can see. Turn it around, you can see I've started to add shades and things. One of my favorite techniques, I probably mentioned it in a past update, is to sand the windows. You can see that one sanded. A bunch of, I think I did the whole upper floor of this one. I sanded them, and it frosts them. And so from the outside, they look frosted. I think I frosted the top halves of some of them. I forget. But sanding them with a very, very fine grit, 200 or plus, makes it for a very nice frosted window. It just kind of obscures what you're looking through into. Sorry, taking a sip of my coffee. I also weathered this door that was driving me nuts. It was too white. And I'm trying to think what other little structural details I've done. I haven't done anything on this section yet. I know I got some good feedback on what to do up here as to whether to add some kind of parking lot or something. I think I'm gonna add another structure or two on this section here to kind of fill this out so it doesn't just look like a wall of buildings here. I think this disguises pretty well with the yard behind it and the tracks going behind it, which was the whole purpose of adding these three structures. I think I will probably add something here. I was thinking possibly like the Medusa cement from Walthers. I may need to cut some of this hillside out to fit it, but I'm thinking some kind of structure other than just a brick building, because that's pretty much all I've got and photos of. Yeah, so I think I need some other varying details in here, but I'm not quite sure yet. So that's it for structures, and let me change things up a little bit and show you the other few things that I've been working on. There was one last structural thing. It's kind of a paint thing, but I finally painted and weathered the roof on this structure up here. I like it a lot better. It looks very dirty, worn, and old, but I think it fits the scene that I'm trying to establish up here. It was more of a yellow-green color. I'm not even sure how I got the color. You can still see undertones of it underneath, but it's just darker and it feels a lot better. So I'm happier with the color of that roof that was driving me insane for a long time. So that is that bit of information for painting of that structure. Let me show you the track that I have established. I forget if I did an update on this, but I feel like I haven't, so I'm going to go through it again real quick. I know I've designed a nightmare here with the lift out section. You can see where the table stops, and then the lift out section, all of this here is lift out, and then it ends here, and then this is permanent. So this part here to here lifts out so I can access the panel, and that's all fine and great, but I was having major derailments because if you remember, I had screws in here and the rails were soldered to the screws, and it was just a nightmare. So what I've decided to do is just add sections of track, and they're powered. So these sections are powered, so it bridges the gap really well, and they just slide out. The rail joiners just slide to one side. I can pick up this whole little section, pick up that little section, and then remove the whole lift out, and it works much better. I don't have any more derailments, so operations are a lot more fun, and there's no more issues there. Things run a ton smoother. So that is major. I know that's not optimal. Things are still not perfectly level in all spots there, but for the most part, it's pretty much rock solid. It may be a little bumpy, but luckily I haven't had any issues. One thing I have noticed, I had one car, I forget where I put it. That was my Grand Union car. These were the trucks that came off it, and it always derailed. And then I had a few random derailments in the back section here on my trestle. You can see I added two little shims here to raise the rail. It feels a lot smoother now. I need to paint that so it is in there. I had done a little bit of work where I leveled this off and glued it, and that was on one of my previous updates, but then I noticed that the rails were uneven, and for some reason the wheels on those trucks that I just showed you were not running over this smoothly. So I think now everything is much better. So did a little track work, got things a little better on the trestle, and got the lift out section good, so things are up and running pretty well. I need to clean the track because I've been doing so much construction and haven't been running them at all, really. So need to clean it so I can run them, and things are pretty well established. I have to clean those 2 tracks in the back off. They were just random stuff, and I'm trying to figure out which industries to add in here, what kits or scratch building I'm going to do, what kind of structures I want. I'm not really sure, so that's still undetermined, but yeah, so that's it. Let me show you one more thing, and then that'll conclude this update. So one cool thing about these structures is that it offers for scenes like this where you can see behind, in between those structures, excuse me, this locomotive coming out. And this is my new Rapido RS11. Last night I finally bit the bullet and added some weathering with my airbrush. It just kind of is a 1 coat. I mixed, actually it's 2 colors. I used weathered black for the most of it, and then I added a little bit of weathered black with rust on the ends, which I'm not sure if that's even picking up, but I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. It looks pretty good. Still has a lot more work to be done, but it took the brand new shiny plastic black look off of it. So that was the last thing I did last night. And then one more thing this morning I had worked on. This was probably mentioned in previous updates, or at least probably the last one. I've been working on these layout maps, or I'm drawing a blank for the names of these things. Track plan panels, I guess. They're not going to be operational panels. They're not going to be wired or anything, but they're just printed out. But I designed them in Canva, and this is essentially a track plan of my main layout. So it would be oriented like this for this layout, or this section of my layout. And then this card here is for this new table here, and it connects and works. So this is probably going to be mounted somewhere under here or in the middle of the table here, so that there's a plan for that section. And then this one will probably be mounted on either, I'm thinking probably here or here. This panel, this whole section needs to kind of be redone at some point, but I kind of want to put these up, keep the files, and then I can either move them if they come out good, or redo them when I redo the panel. I also want to change the color of the fascia board, and I need to get some more fascia board for the far side back there. So that's it for this update. Hopefully we'll get some ops at the end of this, but I wanted to just quickly record this so September is in the books. And stay tuned for October. Hopefully get a lot more done for the next update. Have a great September, and take care.